Sorry, there it is. It's working now. This story could have been today's headline too. Ukrainian intelligence has discovered that there's a pact between India and Russia. A secret pact the Americans didn't know about. Now that they do, things will get interesting. Ukrainian military intelligence, the main intelligence directorate, have often been unreliable in their reports. I think they're either in second or third place with the Danes. They'd rank them first, English second, then maybe others. Australians first, then the United States, followed by Germany, Russia, and others. They're also very good at intelligence, but they don't quite reach that level according to what's been reported out there. There was one on September 15 and 18 last year. A secret meeting occurred in St. Petersburg. If this is the result, remember that Vladimir Putin's power grew in St. Petersburg from its mafias. That's where the real operational power of Vladimir Putin comes from. That's how he held on until he fully consolidated his power. When you're just starting out, when you first become president of a country, you're not really the one in charge. You're always right. You don't gain real power until your first or second year. In his case, it's well known he heavily relied on his mafia contacts. They report a meeting of a working subgroup of the Russia-India Intergovernmental Commission on Military and Technical Cooperation. That's where a new agenda and pact are set up.
Exactly. The meeting is the fourth session of the working subgroup, the Intergovernmental Commission. And according to the agenda, they were leaked in defense operation plans for 2020 from 2025 to 2026, including military training and joint exercises. This agenda also includes a symbolic visit to the Aurora cruiser and negotiations at the Central Naval Museum.
Russia and India are collaborating on joint projects including PJ-10 supersonic missiles, BrahMos, and Avtomat Kalashnikova 203 rifle production. The Indo-Russian company they have there, called Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited, created in 2019, aims to completely rearm the Indian Army from scratch. Keep in mind, this would basically mean a complete break with the United States. India has always remained somewhat ambiguous. I'm friends with both Russia and the United States, and I buy weapons from them and others.
Will they stop buying all arms from the United States?
Exactly. India is no longer buying weapons from the United States. And with this pact, I think India. And besides, we have to remember that Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the I in Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa stands for India. India is a founding member of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. What does Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa want? Well, to destroy the dollar. Not all of them have admitted it, but it's known that that's their idea, to destroy the economy of the United States. About 3 weeks ago, Donald Trump said we shouldn't forget that India is an enemy of the United States. It's exaggerated, but I think he was more right than it seems.
Exactly. Both Narendra Modi and Putin have a good relationship, and Washington recently warned that it was going to impose its 50% tariffs. We told you about it here. India maintained neutrality in the Ukraine war. However, there's one point. I recall Zelensky visited him, and today he asked him...
Yes.
To Zelensky, he asked?
Moody?
To stop or cut back buying gasoline. It wasn't so strict. But the thing is that there you can see again another country leaning more towards Russia, just like China.
Exactly. The intention is already clear. For India to keep a strong relationship with Russia. They value their freedom to choose relationships, but this is striking, isn't it? This one is also very clever and also, makes his moves. If he doesn't like how Trump is acting or leaving, he just changes course. He has put everyone on notice. India by itself is a powerhouse. It has nuclear weapons. It has a huge population. It has territory. It's a powerhouse. For some time now, it's controlled many of the most advanced technology topics. So much so that a good part of the CEOs and top-level engineers in the United States in Silicon Valley are from India. Even in Mexico, many companies have hired people from India. either directly here within the company or indirectly in India, where they operate over there from India, but they're working in companies here in Mexico or in a lot of, I mean, let's say they're operating all over the world. So they have really good engineering, they have space projects, I mean, they have a lot of things. And as Henry Kissinger said, the next world power would be between India and Indonesia, that the future would be somewhere around there, let's say. So yeah, this movement is interesting, and it would leave Asia as a mega power, because in the end, that's what it is. We have to remember that Russia is also part of Asia. It's not Eurasia. So you have, imagine Russia, China, and India together. Besides, obviously, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and so on. So it becomes a huge, huge and tremendous economic bloc.
Exactly. Ukrainian intelligence says that's what people say. It covers defense cooperation, military training, and joint exercises. Analysts also warn that this 2025-2026 pact could expand the operational capacity of both armed forces, meaning Russia and India.
And we're going to see some ambiguity. I don't think it's going to be definitive. I don't think it's going to be a clear cut. I'm not talking to Trump anymore. No. Later on, we'll see Moody greeting Trump, inviting him to India, or visiting the United States himself. That's just how they are, keeping a good... They maintain ambiguity by having relationships with some and hugging others. Currently, we see him as strongly pro-Russia. Later, we'll see him very pro-China or pro-United States. That's how they operate now. And well, let's move on to other interesting matters. There was an attack a while ago. Russia is launching an offensive in the Donetsk Oblast. The war has intensified in the eastern part of Ukraine. It's happening right now, before the talks that are going to take place. It was obvious, it was classic, it was what you expected. There have been many attacks in this area, so what's happening with this issue?
But according to reports, there are quite intense battles taking place along what's called the Kramatorsk axis. These Russian troops are advancing about 16 kilometers, which is significant. Yes, behind the lines, since they usually move only about a kilometer. Behind the Ukrainian defensive lines, near a place called Dobrophilia, and well, military sources call this advance one of the most significant since the war began. Ukrainian reinforcements are being moved from other sectors to help contain the offensive.
Let's discuss other important matters. There is a report from the United States Treasury that is exposing a scandal involving Pemex, Petróleos Mexicanos. On that subject, the Treasury Department accuses two Mexican businessmen of bribing Pemex officials to obtain multi-million-dollar contracts. Between 2019 and 2021, the individuals named are Ramon Alexandro Ribosora Martinez and Mario Alberto Avila Lizarraga. Here, the important or surprising thing is not the accusation from the Department of the Treasury, but rather that the accusation is only against two people. I mean, you know what I mean. If you want to do business with Pemex, with Comisión Federal de Electricidad, with any government company, you already know what you have to do. Everybody knows it, right? I mean, everyone, yeah, you find out about it. I mean, what? Oh, you want to work with this company? Well, of course, but you see, you have to, well, pay this guy, right? I mean, you have to make certain moves so they'll accept you as a businessman. And of course, the businessman already knows, and the businessman adds an extra cost to everything, They'll tell you, yes, they're not going to give you any, they're not going to give you any trouble. Everything comes with an extra cost because that extra cost is paid due to corruption so that these kinds of companies can do business. The bribes included over $150,000 in cash and luxury items like Louis Vuitton bags and Hublot watches, he says. Acting Prosecutor Matthew Galeotti said the accused bribed Mexican officials to rig the bidding process. Pemex Exploration and Production employees, among others, benefited from these illicit payments. Well, that's the probe. I think it's not that the Treasury Department doesn't know, it's just that right now they want to put pressure on Mexico over various issues and they're bringing it to light. Honestly, I don't think it's that they didn't know about this. That's well known, right? Not just Mexico, I mean in general, Latin America has a reputation for this. Many Dutch, Norwegian, and some other countries' companies are banned from doing business with the Mexican and Latin American governments because of the level of corruption there is. I mean, in those countries, if you act corruptly in another country, they put you in jail as if you were doing it in their own country. Some companies avoid issues by saying, corruption, we don't even operate there, hoping to work in that country once it's free of corruption. Hopefully this one, let's see. Dutch companies are hired, let's say, okay, then it's serious if that's really the case. But as long as they don't hire companies where we know corruption is at the highest level. And well, so what does PME say? What's it called? These Treasury Department guys?
Well, what the person in charge right now says, who's the prosecutor, Galati says that the accused are bribing Mexican officials to manipulate the bidding process. Do these Mexicans live in the United States? Yes, they do. We already mentioned who is benefiting, and the current court documents also link a company called Robirosa as members of Mexican cartels. Although they don't give these details.
They don't give details. Well, surely the scandal, let's say, will escalate. That's the update. Let's discuss other important topics.